But we start this hour with trade, and US President Donald Trump has said that Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva can call him any time to discuss tariffs and other friction between the countries. This comes after Trump slapped a 50% tariff on Brazil, with many exemptions starting next week to fight what he has called a witch hunt against former President Jair Bolsonaro, who is on trial on charges of plotting a coup following his election loss in 2022. Following Trump's comments, Brazilian Finance Minister Fernando Haddad called Trump's remarks great and said that he was sure the Brazilian president felt the same and would be willing to receive a call from the US president. In a post on his X account, Lula also said that Brazil had always been open to dialogue, although he did not mention Trump nor his earlier remarks. Let's now listen to what the US president and the Brazilian finance minister said.
You can talk to me anytime you want.
So are you open to tariffs?
Yeah, you can talk to me anytime you want.
What is on the table for Brazil?
Well, we'll see what happens, but I love the people of Brazil.
What evidence do you have to
President, why you saying the two drugs? I love the people of Brazil.
So why do
Two Marines
tariffs? They don't
close
seem
to
to
Russia.
be able to
Because the people running Brazil did the wrong thing.
Eu acho ótimo, né? E a recíproca eu tenho certeza que é verdadeira também, né? O presidente Lula estaria disposto a receber um telefonema dele quando ele quisesse também. E, conforme eu já disse anteriormente, é muito importante a gente preparar esse encontro, preparar essa conversa. Hoje, mais uma vez, eu tive contato com a equipe do Scott Bessent, né? Para a gente fazer uma reunião a semana que vem. Então, finalmente, nós vamos ter uma reunião mais longa e mais focada, né, na decisão, até aqui, unilateral dos Estados Unidos em relação ao Brasil. E nós vamos poder trocar ideias sobre todos os temas, inclusive.
Well, joining us to discuss these developments relating to US-Brazil relations and tariffs, Dr. Ajay Dua, a former Secretary of Commerce and a senior economist. Thank you very much for taking the time, Dr. Dua. Of course, a lot of tariff action in the past 48 hours or so, but this situation with Brazil is made slightly unique with the Jair Bolsonaro situation too. Do you think that this is a conversation that will continue to rumble on with tariffs being looked at because of the complexity, both politically and also financially?
I think so. Thank you for having me first. And I think this would continue. This seems to be the tendency or the trend in the last 7 or 8 deals which President Trump has done. For one, it's very clear that ultimately the decision is not with the negotiators or with the secretaries or the ministers, but it is President Trump who is calling all the shots in the trade deals, and trade deals are called tariff levels as of now, and ultimately the trade deals as well. So whosoever in the past has taken the trouble of approaching the president, even after he has made the announcement, the president has heard them, and I wouldn't use the word relented, but satisfied them to some extent. Let's look at the example of Japan. This was done in the case of EU. It happened in the case of even Vietnam, and very recently in Philippines. The Indonesian president didn't call upon him, but he's applied almost the same rates. So now he's a little put off with Canada for its political stand on the Palestine issue, but with Brazil, and President has made it known totally that he is angry with the President Lula for a simple reason, that his ally, ex-ally, President Bolsonaro, is being investigated, prosecuted, and a second proof of that is that the Chief Justice of the court, where he is being prosecuted, also stands blacklisted to travel to the United States. So I think the way forward which is coming for is where the deals are underway, the president is probably not happy with what's been given, so he would be taking the final calls. It happened in the case of United Kingdom, which has got the best deal so far, 10%, which is the rate across the board, which is being applied. The UK didn't have to pay anything else,
Yes,
because President and the Prime Minister spoke to one another and they understood one another. So I think the way forward for Brazil would be, as has been indicated yesterday and responded by positively by President Trump, that they should meet up, talk, and then come to a figure which will be reasonable, but at the same time meet the president's so-called, don't call them red lines for the president. There should be this purpose that some revenue should be earned by the United States, and at the same time there should be investment or some deals in terms of energy or the US major exportables.
Dr. Dua, I'm conscious of the time. Very briefly, before we do move on but stay on trade, how devastating is a 50% tariff on an economy like Brazil's, given that there are major exports that go to the United States?
If it was across the board 50%, certainly very adverse effect. But if you will read the bottom line, the small print, in the small print there are exemptions. And the exemptions are the items which the US imports from Brazil. Those continue to be at the existing level. That's aviation components. There are orange juice, which in a big way is a big export to the US. And those kind of items, some 7 or 8 items, have not been levied additional tax. President Trump has taken due care that the adverse impact of their import upon the US customers, US consumers is not adverse.
Yes, Dr. Dua, do stay with us because we are, as I mentioned,